Hey guys, James here from TCG University. Come back at you with another deck profile. Today I'm going to be showing you Jeff's Katsuki Bakugo deck. Make sure to let him know what you guys think about the deck down below. Make sure to check out the Campus Championship so you can see how this deck performed. And as always, guys, let's get into it. Okay, guys, Bakugo is a 628 air, death, and fire character. Has two abilities: response. After your blocked fury attack resolves, discard it from your card pool. And then enhance, destroy one foundation, your attack gets +2 damage. So he likes to hit hard and make sure he doesn't have a lot of progressive if his opponents block his attacks. So let's get into the deck. The deck is built around destroying our opponent's foundations, trying to keep their foundation count low and make sure we keep the most advantage out of that as possible. So we're playing 3 Toguro Brothers. Let me get the a little organized better. Toguro Brothers is a 1/4 2-mid block that says static. After this after this card resolves, you may remove it or draw a card. So it either replaces itself or leaves the card pool and keeps your progressive down a little lower, like Bakugo likes, or respond. And then its other ability is respond after an ability is played on an asset or foundation, cancel its effects, and destroy it. This card just says if your opponent plays an ability you don't want to see them play on a foundation ever again, get rid of it. Just bye foundation. Bye, Felicia. Character's not even standard anymore. Next, we're going to talk about for the 3 homing missiles. It's a 4/3, 3 mid for 4 with a 2 mid block. First, enhance, destroy one of your opponent's foundations. Your opponent may lose 3 vitality to cancel this ability. This just says we're going to try and destroy something. This a lot of times just says your opponent burns for 3 rather than because they never want to destroy a foundation. And then if you do get to destroy, you get to choose what foundation you don't want to deal with. And that's the easy thing. Getting rid of something you don't want to deal with, easy choices. Next, we're going to talk about 4 explosive charge. It's a 4/3, 4 mid for 4 with a 3 mid block. Charge Fury and ranged. Homing missile had range, so it can't be discarded with Bakugo. But we're aiming to destroy foundations and not do his Fury discard engine. But there are some cards that work with it, so we don't have to worry about that. Enhance. If the next attack you play this turn is a low attack, destroy one of your opponent's foundations. This works really well because we are playing a lot of we're playing a lot of low attacks, so you'll see that a bunch. As well as it's a cool Fury attack that's easy to block, but your opponent doesn't want to block it because your next attack may destroy a foundation. And that just means this ability is also very awkward because it says if the next attack you play this turn is a low. Yeah, so before your opponent can even interact with anything, you get to destroy a foundation, which is crazy. Next, we're going to talk about the low attacks. We got 4 Hyper Bomb. It's a 5/3, 3 low for 5 with a 2 high block. Has stun 2, weapon, but no other keyword, so Bakugo can't ditch it. Enhance, if it's not blocked, you get to draw a card. And then enhance, commit 1 foundation. If your opponent has more vitality than you, destroy one of the foundations that are committed due to its stun ability. This just says our opponent's not allowed. Our opponent's in a bad spot if they get us too low too early, and we get to just free destroy foundations off this, especially when we're trying to keep them as low health, as low count on foundation as possible. Next, we're going to talk about Guilt Seeker, not Guilty Throne. Guilt Seeker. It's a 5/3, 4 low for 4 with no block, multiple 1 throw. Also can't be touched by Bakugo's ability. Enhance. If you played this this attack's multiple ability, destroy one of your opponent's assets or foundations. And then if your opponent has no assets, this attack and your next attack gets +2 damage. So the multiple get the 2 damage, or if you don't play multiple, the next attack will. This card just also allows us to destroy foundations. Which is just going to lead to more attacks getting through, which is getting us more momentum. We use our momentum for a cool thing we're about to show you, but the last low attack in our deck is Scratch Glicindo. It's a 4/3, 4 low for 4 with a 1 low block. Fury, so it can be ditched by Bakugo. Kick, reversal, and combo with a weapon. The combo E is destroy 1 foundation. Your opponent adds 1 foundation to their momentum, practically getting rid of their foundation so they keep that low foundation count. And then enhance. If your opponent's add one of your opponent's momentum to their card pool face down. This card, if played on defense, allows us to get a momentum if it hits, get rid of a foundation on their turn, as well as stuff their card pool for 1, so they basically get a breaker 1 for the rest of the turn, which is just super strong. And a lot of things are weapons, so it functions really well. And then the reason we want all that momentum, Casa de Leviathan. It's a 5/3, 7 high for 5 with a 1 high block. Charge, Fury, and Weapon, so it functions with Scratch Crescendo and Katsuki's ability, or Bakugo's ability. Enhance, discard one momentum. Destroy one of your opponent's foundations. Your opponent may discard 1 card or lose 2 vitality to cancel this effect. This enhanced ability is playable any number of times during the enhanced step. And then if your opponent's at Desperation or Deadlock, you can add 2 cards from the top of your deck to your momentum, fueling this even further. This card just uses all of our momentum and kind of just blows up our opponent's entire staging area, or burns them a lot to make it easier to kill, or just get a bunch of advantage. Next, we're going to talk about Red Dragon Assassin. It's a 3/5 with a no block. It's basically a 1-for-1. It's an E, destroy this to destroy 1 foundation in your opponent's staging area. This just says we get to get rid of a problem card we don't want to deal with all on its own. We just pop, and then we don't worry about it. It works really well at just destroying things right before we need to worry about them. I'm about to do this cool thing, but that 1 foundation stops us, so let's blow it up. Next, we're going to talk about Loser. It's a 2/5 with a 2 high block. Bakugo response only. After this card enters your discard pile during your attack's enhanced step, your opponent loses 2 vitality. This effect cannot reduce your opponent below 1 vitality. Basically says your opponent can't be killed with this. But what it does say is anytime we destroy it with Bakugo, we do a cool thing. Anytime if it's ever in our momentum and we discard it with Guilt Seeker, we get to do a cool thing. Let's see here. Is there any other cool abilities that I'm not thinking of right away? Man, I wish there... Is this just... Yeah. So, like, anytime we, like, enhance... we respond during the enhanced step. Your opponent played an ability and you try to blow it up with Toguro, and you check this, burn them for 2. There's a bunch of cool things you can do with it. I'm pretty sure there's other combos I'll get to in a minute. Yeah, we make a bunch. There's a few cards that make a bunch of checks. But anytime this enters during the enhanced step, we just get to burn our opponent for 2, which just means they're closer to death than ever before. Next, we're going to talk about Swordfish. It's a 3/4 with a 3 mid block. Tech unique. E, add this card to your momentum. Add this attack to its owner's momentum. This just says to either abort an attack and get rid of any attack we don't want to deal with. Then you'll never use the spiky, so don't worry about it. We got 1 Dive Replica. It's a 2/5, 3 mid block, and the only ability on this card is Breaker 3. Trust me. Don't worry about this text. The only ability that really ever gets played on this card in these decks are Breaker 3. We got 1 Acheron and Nirvana. This card gets played a bunch. It's a 2/5 with a 2 mid block that says respond commit after your opponent plays a keyword ability, cancel its effects. And then E, once per turn, ready 1 foundation has not been ready this combat phase. Just kind of says we don't want to deal with that multiple attack, cancel it. We don't want to deal with the powerful, cancel it. Just stop playing cool things, you know? That Coffee Samba stun, stop it. 3 Hunt for Spiders. It's a 3/5 with a 3 low block that says respond commit. Respond after an attack is played. After you play an attack, flip one of your opponent's foundations, so we get rid of something we don't want to deal with, and add this to your staging area face down. This works really well at getting rid of problem cards without giving your opponent the chance to do something about it. And then the other ability is respond flip after your death or life attack. In our case, death. Deals damage, gain 2 vitality, your opponent loses gain 2 vitality, or your opponent loses 2 vitality. So either you get to increase your life or slowly kill your opponent, which would also work with the way we build our deck, is to slowly kill our opponent. Next we got 3, the Dark Side of Karma. It's a 3/5, 1 low block. Has 2 playable while committed abilities. Respond remove after enhance ability on a non-character, non-weapon card is played, you get to cancel it. And then flip, E-flip, return this attack to its printed speed, which means either if it's your attack, you get to make it harder on your opponent to block, or if it's your opponent's attack, make it easier. Just kind of dealing with attacks in your own way. Then we got 2, Match Made in Hell. It's It's a 2/5 with a 2 high block. Says E, opponent's turn, flip, destroy one of your opponent's foundations. Then add the top card of their deck to their staging area face down. This card works really well at getting rid of problem cards as well. You flip it, get rid of a problem card, and your opponent gets a random card that they don't get to choose what it is. And it just means you don't have to deal with problem cards, things you don't want to deal with. At a time like admissions fees would be a great target for this card. I don't want to have to deal with Akuma having that card. Get rid of it. Then we got 1 Nightmare Terrors. It's a 2/4 with a 3 low block. When you block with this, the speed of that attack goes to 0, practically making this a 3 block. And then you can E flip. If you ever have this in your staging area during your turn, your opponent commits one of their foundations and freezes it. Just kind of gets rid of a card for a turn. But mainly it gets used for a block. Then we got 2 Telekinetic Mastery. It's a 2/5 with a 3 mid block. Respond flip. After you discard any number of cards due to your opponent's effect, you get to commit one of their foundations and draw a card. Or respond, check a 6. After your opponent increases the speed or damage of their attack, that attack gets -2 speed or -2 damage. This card mainly only uses that bottom check a 6 ability to try and make sure our opponent doesn't deal as much damage or make it easier for us to block on things. It's a very good card in this meta and always gets gets seen played. Man, I was having really tough right there. It'll always see play. We got 2 Guardian of the Spirit Sword. It's a 2/5 with a 2 high block. Enhance, you can give once per turn, you can give an attack -2 speed, or if it's a weapon attack, give it -3, making things easier to block. Or enhance flip, discard 1 card, add 1 asset from your discard pile to your hand. Like, let me get to it real quick. Our cool Breaker 3, add it to our hand, and that's it. You just get to then block with it and make sure that you Breaker 3 them. It's mainly how that card's used a lot is I'll pick up, at least in my opinion from what I've seen, is I'll pick up Dive Replica and Breaker 3 you. Get out of here. Next we got 2 Karen Soul. It's a 2/5 with a no block that says E flip. This attack gets -1 speed for each character in your staging area. If you block this attack, it deals no damage. It basically says I'm going to block something and not have to deal with it. Throws, shotgun, stuff like that. I'm going to partial block. I don't want to have to deal with taking all that damage. Don't do that. Stop that. Next we got 3 Prideful Personality. It's a 2/5 with a 2 mid block that says enhance flip. Discard 2 cards, draw 2 cards. This card just basically says we get to funnel for more cards we want. If we're having trouble drawing attacks, this says funnel for attacks. If we have losers in our hand, this says burn our opponent for 2. It just has a lot of playability in our deck. We got 2 Caicos AIDS. It's a 2/5 with a 3 high block that basically has Breaker 2 for our opponent. Respond flip. After you block an attack, your opponent's next attack this turn gets +2 difficulty. So we block and just make sure our opponent doesn't attack us anymore for the turn. That's the main goal of that card. We don't want to have to deal with things. We got 4 Conquest Terror. It's a 1/5 with a 2 low block. E commit. If your opponent is at desperation, this attack gets +2 or -4 speed. E flip. This attack gets -2 speed. This card is really good at defending real early game, and then late game kind of, in my opinion, falls off a tiny bit. But depending on the deck you play against, you don't have to worry about it. But it's very, very strong early game, just to make sure you don't take too much damage early. Then we got 2 Recovering Lost Treasures. It's a 1/5 with a 3 low block. E flip, discard 1 card, shuffle 1 card from your discard pile into your deck. Your next check to play a card gets +2. This works really well at making sure we pass our checks, as well as getting the option to shuffle back in loser, meaning we'll get to use its ability 1 more time before our deck runs out. If maybe, not confirmed, but we'll get the chance to use it 1 more time, which is really cool. We got 2 New Empress of Nether Realm. It's a 1/5 with a 3 high block that says E flip, lose 3 vitality, draw a card. More cards to hand means more possibilities to kill our opponent, and always having that option is very cool. 2 Cage Fighter. It's a 1/5 with a 3 high block that says respond flip. After your opponent makes a check to play a non-foundation card, that check gets -1. Failing in that will not end their combat phase. This just says kind of like instant Breaker 1 when our opponent wasn't really thinking about the card being Breaker 1 on it. It basically says they check worse, meaning they have to commit more foundations, and hopefully it slows them down enough not to kill you. We got 2 Most Trusted Assassin. It's a 0/5, 3 mid block. E once per turn, lose 1 vitality. Your opponent's next check to play an attack card gets -1. This just, again, says hopefully our opponent gets slowed down enough that they don't kill us. We got 2 Wishing Ward. It's a 0/5, 3 mid block, 3 high block. E-flip, discard the top 3 cards, triggers loser. And then if we mill loser, it triggers it. And then we discard one of our opponent's momentum. This just gets rid of momentum, so we don't have to deal with cards that may have momentum outs, as well as getting the option to maybe trigger loser is really fun. And the last card we're playing is 2 Syndicate Target. It's a 0/6 with a 0 low block that says after you block with it, you lose 1. This just says if we have to deal with Dark Cherry Toe, Nutcracker, Missile Launcher, that we have an easy out to it almost. We have a very good block to try and deal with it. Thanks again for checking out the profile, guys. If you liked Jeff's Bakugo deck, let him know down below. If you want to support us, go to patreon.com/TCG University. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, guys, stay alert.